28 years. That's how long One Piece fans have waited to see a true conversation between Monkey D. Dragon and his father, Monkey D. Garp. And when the moment finally came, it wasn't a warm reunion. It wasn't a touching father-son moment. It happened in a prison cell. Dragon, the most wanted man in the world, the leader of the Revolutionary Army, the man whose mere existence threatens the world order, was shown behind bars, broken, angry, and disgusted. This wasn't humiliation. This was transformation. This chapter doesn't just expose a painful moment for Dragon. It reveals the exact day the world government shattered him, the moment Dragon's old identity died and the revolutionary monster was born. But before we dissect Dragon's emotional collapse, the chapter takes us back to the battle that triggered the entire domino chain, the catastrophic final clash between Rox D. Xebec, Garp, and Gol D. Roger on God Valley. The impacts of this day ripple across 800 years of history. This wasn't just a battle, this was the turning point of the entire world. Roger and Garp unleash a combined hockey attack so powerful that it finally knocks Xebec out of his demonic frenzy. The claws fade, the horns retract, and the madness leaves his eyes. For the first time since the transformation, Xebec's mind is clear, but Roger and Garp have nothing left. Their bodies collapse. Their hockey is drained. The three titans have pushed themselves past the limit, and the island itself is breaking apart under the sheer force. As the dust settles, Xebec spots movement in the distance. The Holy Knights, led by the terrifying Figureland Garling, approaching the battlefield. And here's the detail that shocked readers. Even in his final moments, even after thinking he murdered everything he loved, Xebec doesn't think about himself. He thinks about Roger and Garp, because in his heart, he believes his wife and his child died at his own hands during his demonic rampage. He doesn't know Kuma secretly saved them. He dies thinking he slaughtered his own family, and that belief punches a hole straight through his soul. Xebec's dream to raise the Davy family out of the shadows and reshape the world that was fueled entirely by love for his child. But in his mind, that child is dead. His purpose is gone. His legacy is destroyed. So when the Holy Knights raise their blades, Xebec uses his final breath to send Roger and Garp a telepathic message through the voice of all things. Thank you for stopping me. This is not the ending anyone expected for Xebec. A man portrayed as a tyrant, a demon, a world breaker. But here, he dies with dignity, not as a monster, but as a father in mourning. And yet, Oda does something unusual. He never shows the exact moment Xebec dies. Some fans believe he's still alive. Some theorize his devil fruit activated after death, similar to Brook's revival effect, allowing him to use his soul to repel the Holy Knights long enough for Rayleigh and Gabon to rescue Roger and Garp. What we do know is this. Rayleigh later claims Xebec died, suggesting they saw the body, but also hints that his soul lives on. Whether figurative or literal, Oda leaves a massive question mark hovering over Xebec's fate. But one thing is certain, Xebec's death marks the beginning of a new era, and with his fall, God Valley collapses, swallowed by waves and fog, vanishing from the map like a cursed memory. Roger and Garp awaken on their ship, exhausted but alive. The crew finally opens the treasure chests, where Baby Shanks was hidden, and the narrative shifts toward the world's reaction to God Valley. The World Economic Journal explodes with headlines claiming Garp the hero defeats Rox D. Xebec. Instantly, Garp becomes a living legend. Millions of Marines idolize him. Civilians worship him. He becomes the demigod of the Navy. But Garp is furious. He knows the truth. He knows the government twisted the events. He knows Morgans was paid by the Celestial Dragons to fabricate this heroic myth. Sengoku tries to calm him down, explaining that massive institutions like the Marines rely on myths to unite their forces. Throughout history, militaries and rulers shaped legends to strengthen morale. Alexander the Great did it. Generals and kings have always done it. To Sengoku, this lie is necessary, but Garp rejects that reasoning. He doesn't want to be a symbol created by tyrants. This argument between Sengoku and Garp reveals three distinct philosophies. Number 1, Sengoku, reform from within the system. Become powerful enough to deny the worst orders. Use authority to protect people from the top. Number 2, Garp, protect the weak from the bottom. Stay among the soldiers. Be a shield. Keep your hands uncorrupted. Number 3, Dragon, destroy the system entirely. If justice is impossible under the world government, then the world government must fall. This ideological divide is the true heart of the chapter, and now we reach the most important part of the story. The moment that broke Dragon forever. Dragon is thrown into a marine prison for refusing to follow orders during the God Valley operation. But the truth is deeper. God Valley shattered everything he believed in. Dragon joined the Marines because he shared Garp's dream. He believed the Marines existed to protect the weak. He believed justice meant doing the right thing. But in God Valley, he learned that Marines serve the celestial dragons, not the people. Missions can involve harming civilians. The truth is hidden behind propaganda. The government that claims to preserve order is built on slavery and corruption. Justice is an illusion. And perhaps worst of all, Dragon realized he wasn't strong enough to protect the innocent. 2 children depended on him. He failed them. He failed himself. When Garp visits him in his cell, Dragon asks the question that determines both their destinies. After seeing the truth, are you quitting the Marines? Garp freezes, he doesn't answer. And in that moment, Dragon's heart breaks. Because silence means Garp already made his choice. Silence means Garp will stay in the Marines. Silence means Garp will tolerate the celestial dragons. Silence means Garp will swallow injustice for the sake of duty. To Dragon, that silence is betrayal. He screams that he despises his father. This is not teenage rebellion. This is Dragon's entire worldview collapsing. He realizes the system is unfixable. Justice cannot exist under tyranny. The Marines can only serve the Celestials. Reform is impossible. The only way to save the world is revolution. Garp, for the first time, is speechless. His ideals and his son's ideals clash head on. Both valid, both flawed, both heartbreaking. And in the end, Garp silently gives Dragon the key to escape. This is the passing of the torch, not of piracy, but of rebellion. That key is the catalyst for the Revolutionary Army. That key created the world's most dangerous criminal. That key changed One Piece history. Dragon leaves the cell not as a Marine, but as a revolutionary. The chapter shifts to another heartbreaking figure, Harold, the giant whose compassion blinds him to the government's cruelty. Harold spent decades trying to integrate giants back into human society peacefully. He believed kindness leads to acceptance. He believed coexistence was possible, but the government uses a single incident, one giant stealing, to brand all giants as violent savages. Harold learns the wrong lesson. He thinks the giants are the problem, not the system that hates them. He sails to Marineford, breaks his horns in shame, kneels before the government, and begs for acceptance, even offering himself as a slave. It's one of the most tragic moments in the flashback. A powerful giant begging to be broken instead of standing up for his people. But here's the twist Oda seems to set up. Harold may become Dragon's first ally, because Dragon escapes prison the same day Harold arrives at Marineford. Harold's ship is there. Dragon needs a way out. Harold respects those who fight for freedom. This could explain Loki's deep admiration for Dragon decades later. Imagine Dragon training in Elbaf. Imagine Dragon forging his ideologies with the warriors of the world's strongest nation. It fits perfectly with the mystery Oda has built around Dragon's past. In Elbaf, young Loki learns of Xebec's death and breaks down in tears. For a boy who idolized Xebec, this moment shatters his innocent worldview. Harold tries to comfort him. Loki calls Rox Nika, the warrior of liberation, but Rox rejects that idea, reminding everyone he aimed to be king of the world, not a liberator. Still, this dialogue is dense with implications. Elbaf holds the truth about the Void Century. The legendary Elbaf fruit, which Harold believed should save the world, plays a role in shaping the final war. Loki may awaken a power tied to the ancient world. Harold's worldview influences the next generation. Elbaf's importance is cemented. This isn't just a flashback about rocks. It's about the next era. It's about how children inherit the dreams and sins of those before them. The narrator says the island was swallowed by waves and consumed by fog, a poetic way of saying God Valley was erased. But in truth, the memories of that day shaped the entire world. Nearly every major force in One Piece was affected. Roger solidified his path to becoming Pirate King. Garp became a mythic hero. Shanks entered Destiny. Kuma escaped the Celestials. Big Mom and Kaido secured treasures and power. Ivankov and Ginny gained freedom. Harold lost faith in peace. Dragon lost faith in justice. The Revolutionary Army quietly began. The seeds of the final war were planted. There are decades where nothing happens, and weeks where decades happen. God Valley was that week. And that brings us back to the heart of the chapter, Monkey D. Dragon. God Valley didn't just traumatize him, it didn't just anger him, it didn't just expose the government's darkness, it created him. The dragon who joined the Marines died in that prison. In his place emerged the revolutionary who toppled kingdoms, the criminal with the world's highest bounty, the only man the world government truly fears, the father whose dream surpasses Roger's, the storm that will one day clash with the celestial dragons. Dragon is not a mystery anymore. His motivations are clear. His pain is real. His purpose is unstoppable. This chapter doesn't break Dragon, it awakens him. This is truly one of the most important flashbacks in One Piece. It doesn't just reveal the past, it explains the future. We finally understand why Dragon chose revolution, why Garp stayed in the Marines, why Sengoku became Fleet Admiral, why Shanks is so mysterious, why Elbaf matters, why Xebec's legacy echoes across eras, why the final war is inevitable. Dragon emerges from this chapter not as an absentee father, but as a man forged in fire, a man created by injustice, a man who saw the truth and vowed to destroy the system built upon it. A man who became the world's greatest threat because he carries the greatest dream, a dream of freedom.